You've seen us release multiple videos upgrading different BMW G29 Z4s with Alpha 1, and today we're combining them all together in one video to show you how to completely transform a BMW G29 Z4 with an Alpha 1 amp, speakers, and trunk sub. Welcome back, Dylan here. As mentioned, we have a few G29 videos. One is installing our speakers and amps, but that's before we had our custom mounting bracket. The other is with our amp when we had our custom mounting bracket, and the other is installing our Sub 10. Now, if you've seen any of those videos before, well, you've seen parts of this video.
To give you an idea of the whole process, we'll be combining all three of those videos into one to show you how it will be from start to finish to completely transform your G29 Z4.
While technically these all will be different vehicles, in this case a G29 is a G29. Now before we get started, let's take a quick look at all the specs of the audio gear that's going to be going into this video.
The speakers. The Alpha 1 speakers are direct plug-and-play replacements of the factory speakers. Being made from high-end components and expertly constructed with precision, these speakers can handle far more power than the factory speakers, all while delivering deep lows, clear mids, and crisp highs. The amp. Our complete plug-and-play amp is specifically tailored for BMWs with MGU head units. It's customized and tuned for your ears, your BMW, and the music you listen to, all while delivering 840 watts RMS and 1680 watts max power, which is over 3 times the factory amp. It features 10 output channels, which includes one RCA line-level pre-out to drive an additional subwoofer amplifier, which leads us to the next piece of the puzzle, the Sub 10 trunk sub. This easy DIY plug-and-play sub designed by our award-winning car audio competition specialist is optimized for lightning-fast and deep bass response, and DSP tuned for the Alpha 1 amplifier and the acoustics of BMWs. Proudly developed and manufactured in Poland, this sub not only sounds great, but it boasts an aesthetic industrial design crafted from premium materials. The enclosure features a 900-watt RMS single-channel Alpha 1 monoblock amplifier that powers the 300-watt RMS 10-inch driver.
All of this you can do with our DIY Essentials Kit and Trim Tool Kits, but of course, if you don't want to do this yourself, that's fine too. You can find one of our certified installers near you. We have them in about 30 countries around the world. And of course, if you're in the Orlando, Florida area, well then stop on by and we could do it for you. But without further ado, this is going to be a long one, so let's get to all 3 parts of the installation.
The first thing we need to do before dealing with anything electric is to disconnect the battery. Open the trunk, remove any mat, and then remove the floor panel. With the battery exposed, use a 10mm socket to remove the negative battery terminal and set it aside. If you want, tie a towel around the trunk latch so you don't get locked out. Let's start with the center ones. With the trim tool, carefully pop off the grill. Next, remove the 3 T20 screws holding the mid down, and the 2 holding the tweeter down. Remove and unplug them. Prep the Alpha 1 speakers by taking the filter cable and plugging it into one of the slots on the A40. This is the speaker without the foam ring. Then take the oval tweeter and plug that into the other slot on the mid. Plug the main feed into the other end of the filter cable going to the mid. Drop the speaker in and screw them down. Replace the grille. Let's work our way back and do the doors next. I'll be showing you on the passenger side, but it's the same on the driver's side. First, use a trim tool to remove the plastic cover exposing this T20 screw. Next, this trim.
Use a trim tool to pry it off from the top. It will be very tight. At the bottom, there's a tab holding it in place. Wiggle it up and out. Remove the 3 T20 screws. Next, at the bottom of the door are 2 quarter-turn 10mm fasteners. Rotate them until the panel can move freely past them. Finally, start popping the panel off the door. Just watch for the door pin. The only thing I decided to remove was the door latch cable. After that, I gently rotated it and set it down. Locate the mid and remove the 3 T20 screws holding it in, including this bent one. Interesting. Remove and unplug it. Grab the Alpha 1 A45 mid and plug in the filter cable. Plug in the tweeter cable on the other side. You can tell which one is the tweeter cable by matching it to the tweeter lead above. Once matched, plug it in. Plug the lead from the amp into the other end of the filter cable. And reinstall the speaker. Tidy up the excess. For the tweeter, pull the housing up and away from the door. Pull out the foam panel. With a trim or pick tool, carefully bend back the tabs holding the speaker down while pulling up on the leads to it. It will pop out. Unplug it. Grab an Alpha 1 tweeter, line up the notch, and snap it into place. Place the foam back in, run the cable, plug it in, and put the housing back in place. To replace the panel, make sure all the fasteners are reset. If they are not, pop them back into their neutral state or just replace them with less complicated non-G series fasteners and you'll thank me later. Start by putting the door latch cable back in place. Test the handle to confirm it works. Next, make sure the door pin is in place and start popping the door panel back on. Here, Kevin jumped back in to help. Once secure, turn the fasteners at the bottom to secure the panel in place. Replace the 3 T20 screws. Replace the plastic cover. Replace this trim handle like so, starting from the bottom and working up. Now for the fun part, the rear speakers. Start by moving your seats all the way forward. Next, take a trim tool and remove the rear half of the rollover support cover. Remove the center mesh. Then remove all of the T20 screws under it. Remove the front half. Do the same thing on the other side. Use a trim tool and your hands to lift up and remove the top cover trim. pry up on and remove this upper trim. We remove the T20 screw in the back, which is causing this to wiggle a bit extra, but you don't need to do it, so don't do that. Next, remove this T20 screw and lift up on the trim to remove it. Then pry up and remove this door sill trim. Put back any fasteners into the trim if they stay behind. The lower piece has a bit more to it. Start with this T20 screw. Now you can lift up on and start to remove the lower trim, until you realize you forgot the cargo net. Once you remember, remove the plastic retaining tab and pull the net off. Do the same on the other side to completely remove it. Finally, pop off and remove the trim. Remove the rear center console cover simply by prying up. Now remove all of these T20 screws holding the rear panel in place. Now at the base, pop open these covers and remove these two screws. Once the screws are out, pull off the retaining trim. Do this on the other side as well. We're not going to remove this panel completely, but just enough to access the speakers. Lift up and off the tabs that secure it. The last thing holding us back is this center pass-through. It's held together with a bunch of clips, so wiggle and pull until it breaks free. Bend the panel down and out of the way. Once the speakers are exposed, remove the 3 T20 screws holding the mid and tweeter housing in place. Once free, remove and unplug it. While here, let's remove the sub. Remove the 4 T20 screws holding it down, and then use a screwdriver to help carefully break it away from the housing. Once it pops free, unplug it and remove it. Back at the mid and tweeter housing, remove the 3 T20 screws holding the mid in place. Unplug it and remove it. To continue with the theme of BMW making this effortless, they glued the tweeter and its cable in place because why not? We found it easiest to take a set of flush cuts and start snipping away at the glue, which is almost brittle plastic. Be careful because the plastic of the housing is also very brittle. Good job, BMW! Once the glue has been broken apart enough, very carefully bend back the tabs holding the tweeter in place as you apply upward tension on the leads pulling it up. Just like you did for the front door, but this one is less forgiving.
If you notice the Alpha 1 tweeter won't fit, there might be some excess glue. Make sure you get rid of it.
Snap the Alpha 1 tweeter in its place. Place in an A40 mid and screw it down. Route the tweeter wire and plug it into the mid. Plug the filter cable into the other slot on the mid.
Tidy everything up.
Back at the car, place the Alpha 1 sub in place and screw it down. Plug it in. Grab the tweeter and mid housing. Plug the main lead into the other end of the filter cable. Line up the housing like so and screw it into place. Do the same thing to the other side and the speaker installation is complete. Now, the super fun part of putting everything back together. Start by snapping the pass-through back together. Reinstall all the screws up top. Reinstall the retainers and screws at the bottom. Slide the side panel back in and replace the screw. Slide back in this trim and reinstall the screw. Snap the door sill back on and make sure the weather stripping is in place. Slide on and snap in this upper trim. Remember to do this on both sides. Snap the rear center console trim in place. Replace the cargo net. Replace the front halves of the rollover support covers on both sides. Reinstall the screws. Replace the small center mesh pieces. And then snap the rear cover trim back on.
Slide the top panel back in place.
Finally, slide back in the center mesh once you figure out which direction it goes. Start with this rear panel by using a trim tool to pop out these 4 fasteners. Pop out the light and disconnect it. Next, lift up from the bottom and pop it free. It will make a lot of popping and snapping sounds, so that's normal. Now let's remove the side panel. Start by popping off the covers for these tie downs. You can then remove the T40 screws holding them down. Next, remove the 3 fasteners here, here, and here. The last step is to remove the cargo tray. Start by popping the netting frame off of it, and then pop free the cargo tray and pull it out. Finally, articulate the side panel out and remove it. The last non-audio pieces to remove are this plastic piece, which you could just lift out, and this piece here, which you could just pop free from the threaded stud with a trim tool. We'll need to access that stud later. Next, disconnect the RAM module and booster lever lock connectors by pressing in the center tab and rotating the arm up. Now we need to remove the booster so we can relocate it. Start by removing the 3 8mm bolts holding it down. After that, remove it. Grab the Alpha 1 booster relocation bracket and place the booster onto it like so. Grab the included screw from your amp kit and thread it into here to secure the booster to the bracket. Now we can install the booster in the new location. Slide the factory harness out of the way to make some room. And drop the bracket onto the studs like shown. Place the included 10mm metal nut on the stud on the right and the included plastic 10mm nut on the bottom stud. Tighten them both down. Let's start getting everything else ready to go in. Start with the Alpha 1 amp. Grab the amp with bracket and plug in the USB cable like so. On the other side, plug in everything from the main harness into the amp. Every connector only goes in one place, so there's no risk for error. Now the moment we've all been waiting for, mounting it. Grab the Alpha 1 amp and bracket and put it into position like so. Secure it with the 3 factory 8mm bolts you removed before. Tighten the bolts down. Time to plug it all in. Grab the factory RAM module lever lock connector you removed earlier and slide that into the connector labeled RAM on the Alpha 1 harness. Once in place, rotate the lever to lock it into place. Take the other end of that part of the Alpha 1 harness and connect the Alpha 1 lever lock connector into the factory RAM module like so. Next, take the factory lever lock connector you removed from the booster and plug that into the corresponding connector labeled Booster on the Alpha 1 harness. Finally, take the booster lever lock connector on the Alpha 1 harness and plug that into the factory booster. To make some final cable adjustments before running power, Jarrett opted to put this plastic piece back in place. At this point, you could tidy up all of the cables besides the power and ground with cable ties. Coil up the slack and secure it to existing harnesses. Now the power and ground. Start by removing this 10mm nut here and place the terminal from the Alpha 1 amps ground cable over the stud. Tighten back down the 10mm nut you removed. Use a cable tie to coil up and tidy up the slack. For the positive cable, start by running it along the back here like so, using cable ties along the way to secure it to existing harnesses.
Once you get it to here, slide it under the side panel like so. You'll want the cable following this track of the existing cables here. Once the cable is fed, pop off this terminal cover. Trim off this tab to allow it to snap back into place after adding the Alpha 1 positive cable. Remove this 13mm nut. Slide the terminal from the positive cable over it. Tighten the nut back down and snap the cover back into place. It's best to keep the fuse secure, so Jarrett opted to use some Velcro to secure it to the cover panel. The last thing you'll want to remove that you don't have to do for the amp is the other side panel. It removes the same way: a few fasteners and the tie downs. Start by taking the provided RCA cable and plugging it into the amp. You might have to feel around for it. Next, take the REM in-out cable and plug that into the top side of the amp. Jarrett is now securing the two cables together with cable ties to make installation easier for him. You can see he leaves a bit of distance between the RCA and the REM cable so that they will plug in where they need to on the Sub 10. I would suggest securing these together when they've already been run, but Jarrett's a pro and he's done this many times. Run the cable along this factory harness using cable ties to secure it along the way. Run it to and tuck it into this top corner and leave it here for now. At this point, you could reassemble the side panel. Slide the panel in. Make sure the weather stripping is over it. Reinstall the fasteners. Reinstall the cargo tie downs. And finally, the cargo tray. Now for the power. Like the other cables, Jarrett decided to secure these two cables together with cable ties. You don't need to do that at this stage. To actually run the power and ground, Jarrett opted to run the cables in reverse to make sure he had the right length to mount the sub in the center. Tuck it over the top like so, and use cable ties to secure it to existing harnesses. You'll want to feed it down here like so. You will want the ground cable branched off because you'll be securing that to the battery bracket bolt. Jarrett used some gaff tape to keep the cables in place, and also to provide a little protection for the ones that fed down the metal corner. Let's start connecting the power. Pop off the red terminal cover plate, and locate and remove this 13mm nut. Slide the ring terminal from the Sub 10 power cable over the stud, and tighten the nut back down. For the ground, remove this 10mm bolt here. Slide the ring terminal from the Sub 10 over the bolt, and tighten the bolt back down. At this point, you could begin the rest of the reassembly. Start with this side panel, reinstalling it the same way you did on the other side. and the rear panel. While it would be even better to leave your battery disconnected until after the Sub 10 is plugged in, the size of the trunk makes that difficult. So go ahead and reconnect your battery now. Finally, with the cables out of the way, slide the floor panel back in. When it comes to placing the Sub 10 in the back, while sonically it makes more sense to face the speaker into the cabin, we opted to face it out for this install.
Sorry.
When you plug in the Sub 10, it's up to you and the size of your hands if you do it before or after it's in place. The Z4 is a little tight on real estate. To secure the Sub 10 to the floor, but also make it removable, your kit will come with some Velcro. While we would normally put it on the Sub first, with the tight space, it would get caught too many times on the way in. Jarrett removed the backing of the hook side of the Velcro and then placed it against the hooks to keep it from sticking to the floor. Something larger like a sheet of paper would work even better. Slide the Velcro under, and once in place, secure the sticky backing to the Sub 10. Remove the barrier, and then secure the Sub 10 in place. After this, make sure you have your amp tuned if you have not done so already, close your trunk, and crank up the tunes.
And that is how you install all of Alpha One's products on a BMW G29 Z4, our amp, speakers, and trunk sub. Want this kit or a similar kit for your G29 or any compatible BMW, Mini, Supra, or Tesla? Well, head on over to our site, enter your VIN, and find the right kit for your ride. Have any more questions about any of these products? We could reach out to our sales team via chat on our site or by calling. Already have any of these and have questions about the install or anything else? Reach out to our support team with your order number and they will be eager to assist. But as always, for more tips and tricks, product reviews, and so much more for BMWs, Minis, Supras, and Teslas, make sure you subscribe and don't forget to ring that bell. Want to know what's happening first? Head on over to our site and sign up for our newsletter. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as well. Thanks for watching.